Hi everyone, and welcome back to Irish Footy Vlogs. I'm joined this week with Oisín. Oisín, how are you?
Oh, good, Des. Thanks for having me on.
That's excellent. This week we're going to be previewing the cup action. There's a lot of games coming up in that, and it's towards the business end of the cup. And we're going to have a little reflection on the few games that went by in the league, and a preview to the only league game that's going to be on this week. So I think Oisín, let's dive on in. I suppose we're better to start than Harps 1, Bohs 2. Obviously Promise got the goal early on for Bohs. He came on as a sub. He did okay. I thought he got stuck in, and Kelly got a penalty in the 42nd minute, and then Rainey pulled one back for Finn Harps. Oisín, now this was up in Harps. You were at the match. What did you think of this game?
Yeah, I thought it was a really good match. Really entertaining. I think it was one of the best matches, since we've been allowed back into grounds. Like, it's been really good. Like, it was end to end. It was very even. And yeah, no, it was some great football played. Bohs obviously coming out 2-1 winners in the end. But yeah, I think Harps kind of had a slow start in the first half, and then second half they're much better. But regards to Bohs, and Bohs will be happy that they're back on track now for Europe.
Yeah, look, I was very happy that we got out of Finn Harps at all 3 points. Never an easy place to go, especially with Finn Harps in such good forms. I suppose there was a few instances in this game that we might look at in a few minutes. I personally thought this game was very entertaining. Like you said, it was end to end in bits of it. I do think Bohs actually had the upper hand to Harps, but definitely when Harps got the goal back towards the end, they were right back in it, and they really put it up to us. But unfortunately, Bohs are known to be throwing away leads. We've done it. We've thrown away 1-2-0 like leads in games in the very last few minutes of the game, and I was fearing this is going to be one of those ones where Harps are going to come back and get a sneaky draw. I was fearing it could have easily have happened.
Yeah, that's it. And yeah, if Harps, it could have been a different story if Harps had got that goal maybe 10 or 15 minutes before, or David Webster saying, we would have had a chance if we had got the goal maybe 10 minutes before. So yeah, no, it was a shaky end for Bohs, at the end of the match, and also we had that chance where the ball was headed onto the line, and I think Dawson Devoy done very well to kind of keep it out. Now, personally speaking, I was in the main stand, so I wasn't actually in a good position to see it. I'm not exactly sure, but the fans behind the goal certainly thought it was in. So did the Harps players. But in the league, you need a wee bit of luck to go for you, and just on Monday night, really just didn't go for Harps at all. Just the way it went.
Look, I suppose it's like one of those things in football. You have luck some weeks, and you don't have luck other weeks, and I just think Bohs had to look this week, fortunately for us and unfortunately for Harps. And a referee could have easily called that as being in. But I think his position on the pitch would have made it a bit hard for him to say for sure is in. And I think the fact maybe that he had a doubt in his mind that it mightn't have been in, I think that's why he didn't give it. Personally, myself, I obviously wasn't up with Finn Harps. I watched it on LOI, which great stream. It's great to be able to watch it, but I haven't watched it in real time on a stream, not being there, obviously. I can only tell by what I've seen. And to me, it didn't look fully in, and the ball has to be fully over the line, as we all know. Yeah. So I think in this case, in my opinion, the referee made the right call. He wasn't sure if the ball was fully over the line. There's no goal line technology in the League of Ireland, so he didn't give it. And I think it was the right decision in real time.
Yeah, definitely. I think the same myself. I think Dawson avoided him very well to get it away from the line. But it's actually where the ball came from. I watched an angle from behind the goal. The Fun Harps TV boys had it, and it actually showed Georgie Kelly's elbow connecting with the ball. So it looked like Georgie Kelly had actually, if Dawson Devoy hadn't got there, it could have possibly went down as a Georgie Kelly own goal. Which is, it's a bit of a strange one, considering what's his elbow doing, going facing towards the goal. So yeah, no, it's kind of them fine margins. If it went in, Harps would have been happy, would have pipped it at the end. Ultimately, over the 90 minutes, I don't think Harps really deserved a point, to be honest. But of course, we would have taken it if we had got it. Regards to the penalty that Harps conceded, I don't think there was no really debate about it. Really, I think Siddiqui, I think he just ran, and there was nothing really he could do. He couldn't get out of the way, and just bundled over the Bohs player. So I don't think there was any really, any kind of argument in that.
Yeah, I completely agree. I don't think he intentionally went in to do anyone. I do think he went sincerely for the ball, and obviously didn't get the ball. He got the player instead, but it definitely wasn't a sending off anyway. So thankfully, he wasn't sent off for a Haas perspective. And Joe steps Georgie Kelly and absolutely rockets it into the back of the net. And I don't think the goalie's getting anywhere near that. I don't think any goalie's getting anywhere near that. Albeit it wasn't actually in a corner. So you could make that argument if the goalie had stood big, but that's a lot of ifs and buts there. I did think it was a good penalty. It was blasted really well, and high penalties, I think, are always some of the hardest to score because you have to make sure you get head on target, obviously, and it's obviously going to be hard for a keeper to keep out. But I thought it was a very good penalty, and it was good to have that kind of a 2-0 cushion throughout most of the game. Anyway, for Bohs, as we are not throwing them away. What did you make of? I was just looking at the Harps team. I noticed Doherty was in goals, but they had the likes of Tunde on the bench, Timlin on the bench, Hawkins was on the bench. I thought these players would have been starting perhaps.
Yeah, well, I think it was Ollie and Higgs. They were kind of looking ahead to Friday night's match against Dundalk in the cup. I really do think that there was 5 changes made, and obviously one of them was forced because McGinley got sent off in the Derry match, on last Friday. So he made 4 changes, as you mentioned. Foley didn't start, Tunde didn't start, Mark Coyle didn't start. Although he was forced on because Will Seymour had to go off injured.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I do think it was a bit of a kind of rotation job. More eyes on the cup on Friday night rather than the league. I'd say if Horgan was really concentrating in the league, he would have went full strength, and then full strength again on Friday or whatever, whatever his sights were. But yeah, in regards to the penalty, it was a great penalty. There's no taking away from that. There's a bit like Tunde's penalty against Derry a few weeks ago. Just the roof of the net, the power, if anything, really would have beaten the keeper. So yeah, no, it was a good penalty. But in regards to the team, yeah, I think it was an understrength team with more eyes to the cup on Friday night.
Completely agree, and I actually think Ollie Horgan had a lot of balls to do that. But the team didn't play like a team that looked like they were missing players to start every week, which I think is great from a Harps perspective. And it's not something that people are really touching on or talking about. Like the likes of Tunde and all them are starters for Harps. Well, they have been in the last few months anyway. That's been getting goals. That's been grafting for Harps and getting these wins. Harps are in a great run of form and it's taken a lot of points in the last few games. And obviously, when Harps are on a run, they're extremely hard to beat. They're one of the hardest teams to beat in the league, in my opinion, once they got on a run. And they do go on these runs, and then they go on these runs of losses. And I think when they're on a run of losses, that's the time to play. But when you're on a streak of good form, like any team, really, that's the worst time to play. But Ollie Horgan made a lot of changes, and I thought it was the right decision to do. And, you have to give credit to the players that came in. I thought they all played very well, didn't look out of place whatsoever, and certainly going to be making him scratch his head looking forward to the cup game. Someone have really put themselves in the position to be get some kind of game time in this.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, and players who didn't start on Monday, like ready for the cup match on Friday and fresher and so on. So yeah, no, I wouldn't be scrutinizing that that call from Horgan and Eggsy, because I was kind of half expecting it. Like, you had Sean Boyd starting up front, and Sean Boyd, I don't think he started too many games. I think he started a cup match against Fairview Rangers.
Yeah.
Apart from that, I don't think he started any other matches. So yeah, it was a much change selection, and I think Horgan knew himself that we'll take a risk here. And the winning end, it had to come. The winning run had to come to an end at some stage.
Yeah, I think, and then just looking at the Bohs players, I think Bohs went with a full strength team. They didn't have any rotation whatsoever. The new players were on the bench, didn't come on. There's 2 new players on the bench. We went through that before, but I think Bohs, I think we did very well. I think the likes of Devine, Tierney, Kelly, they all had really good games. They just had good games, I thought, and we got 3 points. We got out from Harps with 3 points, exactly what we needed, exactly what we wanted, and we have a good bit of rest now before the cup game. So I'm happy with team selection. I'm happy with how the team played. We grafted out, we got the 3 points, and we got out from Harps with all 3 points, and that's exactly what we needed. That puts Bohs 5th in the league with 37 points, 24 played, and Harps are in 7th, 33 points with 27 played. I do think Harps are safe now this season. I think Ollie Horgan's on his job once again. especially when he's been scrutinised so much by everybody else. I think he's really got the team together. He got the points on the board. He got you out of trouble, and I firmly believe he'll comfortably stay up now.
Yeah, I probably hold the same type of thinking myself. It's just considering the teams below us, aren't doing very well. Well, you had Waterford picking up wins, for a while there, but then when you think of it, they're not, they're not that far ahead. I think they're only a point ahead of Dundalk. So they won all these games, and you have Dundalk breathing on their necks. We'll also get on to Dundalk later on, but yeah, I think Harps should be fine. If they can push. If they could push up maybe to sixth, even better. But I think, I say they'd be, an improvement from last year. Seventh place, they'd be happy enough.
Yeah, excellent. I definitely think if Harps finish 7, it'll be a great season for Harps and a great season for Ollie Horgan. Once again, he's doing a great job. But Bohs come out the winners, 3 points away from home, exactly what we wanted. I'm delighted with that results. Absolutely excellent. So moving on to the next game, then we're looking at Sligo 2, Dundalk 1. Oisin Davies showed this game. Great result for Sligo. Poor, very bad result for Dundalk.
Yeah, another bad result. I think it was 12 or 13 results, or 10 or 12 or 13 losses for Dundalk this season. It's magical stuff, really. It's really fancy stuff, really. It's just a bit mad when you think of it, it really is. But I watched the full match, and that, personally speaking, I didn't think Dundalk were awful. I didn't think they were, really bad. I didn't think that, really. I thought, they were in the game. And it could have went either way, but Sligo did put out a professional performance. Obviously Dundalk took the lead with Patrick Oban, but even when you look at Patrick Oban, I think he's only scored 6 or 7 goals this year. He has been injured a lot, I know that much, but it's just, he hasn't really had the best return compared to past seasons. Maybe that could be part of the downfall, when obviously goals win games and so on. But Sligo, obviously, you were chatting before we came on, they've turned it round. They were on a losing streak, and they've turned it around the past 2 matches with 2 wins. Obviously they won't beat Patson. They obviously won last night, so they were definitely. I was kind of thinking to myself, they'll definitely need 1 or 2 wins to keep themselves in the Euro places, because obviously they had Bohs breathing on their necks. Derry were coming up there too, and even Drogheda at one stage. So they'll be happy enough. Sligo with this. A good performance, and the crowd got really behind them, and they seem to be gelling together again at Sligo.
Yeah, definitely, and like you said, it was completely professional performance by Sligo, and I've seen bits of this game too, and I definitely don't think Dundalk were just down and out. It was just Sligo just were a better team on the day. They just looked like they were more up for it. They looked like they were more prepared. They were more driven. They just wanted more, I thought, as well. Hoban's been going missing a little bit this season, and this might be the start of the decline of his career now. He's coming, he's not old, but I don't think he's going to reach levels of what he did. But obviously, there's a great player in there that we all know. Obviously, there's a league winner in there, there's a cup winner, there's a league double winner, there's goals, like every kind of goal you can imagine he scored, and he's very well capable of doing it. So that's definitely contributing to Dundalk's poor league position this season. But to be ninth is just rotten. Andrew Wright got the goal, and it was Banks. He's left back for Sligo, a player that I rate very highly. I think he's very, very good. I think he goes under the radar a lot. I think he should be spoken about a lot more. I do think he's one of the better left backs in the league, in my opinion. I am always impressed by him. He just does his job so well, and it just goes under the radar. It's not really talked about. Andrew Wright played wing for Andrew Wright played right wing in this game for Sligo, so he's back playing in the wing again, and good to see him back in the league. I would have liked if he had went to Bohs, but he's back on the score sheet and he's doing what he does best.
It's good to see him back in the league. As you were saying, the Bohs. I'd say Bohs are taking him back. After obviously if you have George Kelly out, who's your striker. But even like with Dundalk, I think it kind of boils down to the keeper situation too. Brought in a BB. He looked half decent at the start of the season. Obviously won that President's Cup match. But he just seems to be a bit of a, he's a bit dodgy in that, to be honest.
Going through the team here for Dundalk, right? They had Hoban, Duffy, Patching, Sloggett, Stanton, Boyle, Dummington, Nice lad, who's the I think he's Fair Isles player, and obviously a BB in goals. But the bench, like obviously, was missing so many players. An awful lot of players missing. But I think there's a lot of Dundalk fans, and I might be hammered for saying this now, using these injuries as an excuse. And look, I know there's an awful lot of injuries that had really no one on the bench. I think the only senior outfield player I actually think they had was Sean Murray. Obviously, he's a good player, but I think he was the only one. And obviously they had Peter Cherry there as well, but he's a goalie. But like that team that they had, it's not like these are all experimental players. Obviously, Abibi, obviously Nate's, obviously them lads are, but the rest are season pros, Duffy, Hoban, Sloggett, like Boyle, like Dummington even. Like these are players that should be performing and they're just not. And time again we've said it on here, they're just not stepping up for Dundalk.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Yeah, I heard a funny person on the radio, he was saying, oh, out with 10 players or 10 players are injured, whatever, but I don't know, it's like, the players are named out there, like, they're season pros, as you said, they're top quality players, they have it in them, but I just think, I don't think they're actually playing, they're not playing, some are playing, but they're maybe 75%. I don't think they're, fully at it, whether they're not being driven it, or they're just, there could be lack of effort as well. There's a few players that came on. Wilfred Zahibo, one of them. He just looks, he just looked like, oh, I'm just gonna sit here, pass the ball or two. And that's, that's the bare minimum I'll do. It's just the way it's gone. I don't know. It's obviously something inside in the club that obviously we don't know about. It could be something out there, but we just don't know. The decline really, falling giant. It really is. It's about to hit rock bottom soon enough. They need to start getting the finger out and get a few wins.
Yeah, absolutely, and obviously, looking at Sligo, absolutely excellent result for them. I would have fully backed them. I would have expected them to beat Dundalk and beat them well, which they have. They've got a lot of quality. Obviously, they've been going on a poor run there for a while now, but they're starting to pick up wins again, and they're back on the winning side again, and they're third, and they're going to keep pushing up there from where they are. They're 26 played, they're 45 points. Dundalk are 9th, 26 played, 28 points. Do you think Dundalk would be 9th coming in the season, keeping in mind that obviously they have a few games in hand and they'll have to do themselves favours, letting everybody else do them favours to get over where they are. They have a chance of getting out, but I think they have just as much of a chance of staying where they are.
Yeah, that's like they would need to start picking up wins, sooner rather than later. And of course, they have the cup, which we'll get on to. They have a chance to get into Europe. What type of story would that be there if they were stuck in the first division and they won the FAI Cup? It'd be madness. It would be madness. But yeah, they definitely need to get their act sorted. Sooner rather than later. I've seen Vanny Purse up in Ballybofey on Monday night, so sizing up the opposition for Friday night. But yeah, I'd say their cup is their kind of last hooray. Really, they need to start picking up the wins. They do have a few games in hand. The match last night was one of those games in hand, so they do need to start getting moving again.
Yeah, so as we're on Sligo at the minute, and they got the great win over Dundalk, which I'm very happy for them with the got. And they actually play Rovers now on Saturday in the league, and obviously the Rovers are in sensational league form. There's no real stopping them. Bohs got the win over them, but we're not going to talk about that. But the Rovers are in great form and just doing very, very well. Sligo are at home in this one, so that's good. It's going to be interesting to see. Sligo are back to winning ways again. They'll be going up against, they'll be confident going up against Rovers, who they'll also be confident going into this. I think this should have potential to be a very good game.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'll say Shamrock Rovers. A wee dip in form there. They obviously they lost in Europe, and then they lost, and obviously the Bohs in the cup, and then we beat them, and Harps beat them in the league, and obviously they've got a win now against Waterford, so kind of steady the ship. So yeah, it will be an interesting match. I know the Sligo may possibly have a few games in hand, but I think they're 8 points behind. Shamrock Rovers, I think, at the top. So maybe I'm wrong on that, but yeah, it will be an interesting match. Both teams will be up for it. As you see on the screen, the battle of the Rovers. Who will come out on top. But yeah, I'd say both teams will be up for it. It'll be an interesting match. The only league match this weekend. So yeah, I'd say there'll be a few people have their eye cast on it.
Yeah, and Sligo obviously were in very poor form up until recently. Up until they got the win against Pats and the win over Dundalk. I think it was like a 5-game losing streak they were on at one stage, which is obviously very poor considering where they are in the league. But they've picked back the form back up, and they're still going to kick on again. And I actually do think this is going to be a very good game. I'm actually going to go with a 1-1 for this. I think it's going to be very close. I think Sligo could get something out of this game. They'll be going with confidence. I think they're going to give Rovers a very challenging game. Then again, look, Rovers, they've done this time and time again, getting very late winners, and they're so capable of doing it. Obviously, Danny Mandrew got 2 goals to them last week, and we all know what he can do on his day, and we all know what kind of player he is when he's on his game. But you could say the same about nearly every Rovers player. Once they're under game, they're a very hard team to beat, and they'll always put a team up right up to the last minute, and it's something that they've done time and time again this season with very late winners, very late draws coming back. And so I think it's going to be very close. I think it's going to be 1-1. I could be completely wrong, but I think it's going to be 1.
Yeah, well, that's probably fair enough. Yeah, I would tip Shamrock Rovers to win this. I think they're kind of half thinking, we have one hand on the title at the minute. Obviously I think Sligo 26 played, Shamrock Rovers 25, so they obviously have a game in hand on them. So yeah, no, I can see Shamrock Rovers grinding it out. Or there'd be another late winner. I know Longford has 3 late winners against Shamrock Rovers this year. So yeah, if it's a late winner, I'd say Shamrock. I have full confidence Shamrock Rovers will come out of the showgrounds with the 3 points.
Very good. Well, best of luck to Sligo anyway against Rovers. It'd be great if they got a win over them, but maybe not so good for Bohs because we're closest to Sligo than the other Rovers in the league. But yeah, good stuff. We're going to look ahead at the cup games now. So we're better to start than up at Finn Harps. Quarter final, Finn Harps are playing against Dundalk. Harps are at home, they have home advantage. They rested some key players that we talked about. Dundalk are down in the dumps, they're 9th in the league. I think Finn Harps are going to be the confident team. Dundalk are going to be the team that's going to feel under the pressure. Oisin, you take us through this game, obviously, as a Finn Harps man. What do you make of this, and how do you think this one's going to go?
Yeah, looking forward to it. Yeah, looking forward to a big crowd in Finn Park. I think it really makes a difference with the home tie. You get your fans behind you and so on. And I have full confidence. Harps will come out with the win on Friday night. Just basically judging, kind of done my own analysis really on Dundalk in the past few weeks. I watched the Longford match on Saturday, which they lost 1-0, and I watched the match last night. I was just kind of sizing them up, when the draw was made, and wondering, if Harps, can Harps break them down? And I think, yeah, Harps will come out victorious in this one. They'll have a crowd behind them, and also they have, obviously they had a run there. Obviously they had a draw against Derry, and they lost against Bohs on Monday. But I still think they'll have enough in the tank. I think they can grind out. I could say a 2-1 victory for Harps.
Yeah, I do think I actually would completely back Harps for this. And if I was a Harps fan, I'd be completely confident going into this as the Harps one, and I definitely think they'll beat Dundalk. No disrespect to any Dundalk fans listening to this. I just don't see Dundalk getting anything out of this game. But to spin it back around and looking on the other hand, Dundalk are going to be thinking, right, the league, obviously, we're not going to get Europe. We're just simply not. And if we want to get Europe in any way, shape, or form, we are going to have to win the league, which will mean beating another 3 teams to get to the final and win the final, obviously, too. And there's a lot to be asking of a team. To get European football, you need to win a cup.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah, that is as I mentioned already, it's their last hurrah. Really, they have their last chance to get something out of the season. The nightmare season they're having, I think it's fair to say. So yeah, no, definitely Dundalk will be up for it. The away fans will be there too. And yeah, it'll be an interesting match to keep an eye on. And I think is it one of the only all Premier side or all Premier ties.
Yeah.
So yeah, it'll be an interesting match. And yeah, Dundalk they will be up for it. There's no doubt about it. but I just think
I think as well, Oisin, like we talked about Dundalk having 8, 9, 10 players out injured. Obviously, the players that played there in the league, they're going to be relying on them in the cup, and Harps got a chance to actually rest their players and bring them on accordingly when they had to. Dundalk didn't have that luxury. They have no one really to fall back on. If someone comes off injured, to replace them with a key to improve a player, and I think that's going to be key to this one. I think that this Dundalk team could be tired going into this game, and the Harps team could be fresh, and I think that's going to really work in Harps' favour going into this one.
Yeah, and I think it boils down to the Europe, the European run that Dundalk were on. They had all the games scheduled, and obviously they had a match then. You had a match last night, and also they had a match on Saturday. So I mean, if you have 10 players down, they're injured on Saturday. You're gonna have the same players, available on the Tuesday night. You might have a few more maybe that return from injury, but you're using the same bulk of players. You're going Saturday, Tuesday, Friday. It's bound to bear on the squad numbers and the fatigue and so on. So yeah, I think Harps definitely in the better position of the two teams. But yeah, you don't know. It's 90 minutes cup match, anything could happen.
I think as well as that, with the likes of Bohs, Shamrock, Rovers, you could throw Dundalk into this bracket when they're injury free. They have big squads to pick from, and they have a few players in different positions. Like obviously Bohs have 2 very good left backs. They got Breslin, they got Wilson, but they've only got one really striker. So Kelly's always going to play. And obviously, Shamrock Rovers have nearly 2 players in every position too. So going into a cup game, sometimes it can be hard to predict who's going to play where, and that might influence how you set up in a team. Obviously, if you're playing against a pacey striker or a target man, it's completely different on how you're going to defend against. That might influence who you put in your back line in a cup game to try and get the win. Obviously, have a tactical approach going into it. But I think the fact that Harps know the Dundalk players is available, unless someone comes back from injury, I'm not too sure on who's coming back from injury, where they're at. There could be a few players back for Dundalk. Obviously, they weren't included in the league match, so they weren't anywhere near fitness for this game, but they went by in the league. But that's not really a good sign for them. Obviously, they don't know where they're near fitness, but they could be put on the bench for this game. But I think Finn Harps can predict Dundalk's team, and then they can predict how they're going to play, which I think is good for Ollie Horgan's side because he's good at setting up defensively when he has to.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's another advantage, as you say. I think everything's stacked against Dundalk for this match, unfortunately for all the Dundalk fans out there. But as I said again, we'll just have to wait and see and how it pans out. It'll be definitely an interesting match to keep your eye on.
Absolutely, and I'm actually going to predict this one to be 1-0 Finn Harps. I don't think it'll be a comfortable win, but I think you will see it through. I think Dundalk will definitely throw something your way, but I just think Finn Harps will have the quality to see this one out. I think presently you've got more confidence, you've got better players, you've got players that are playing for Ollie Horgan, playing for the club, and playing for that shirt, and I think that's vitally important in this cup, and it's brilliant the Harps got this far in the cup, and best of luck to Harps, and obviously Dundalk too, but I think Harps are going to catch Dundalk here, and I think it's going to be 1-0 to Harps.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, well, I've done my prediction 2-1 Harps. I think it will be a tight enough affair, but yeah.
I think next up we're going to look at Bohs against Maynooth. Obviously Maynooth are the only non-league team left in this, which is absolutely, it's great to see non-league teams progressing this far in the competition. They're going to be playing in Dalymount Park. They're going to be playing against, with a very big crowd, the biggest crowd in 18 months, I believe, is going to be in Dalymount Park. Absolutely brilliant to see. Oisin, what do you think of this game? Obviously, the odds are stacked up against Maynooth for this, but you can't write any team off.
Yeah, well, it's a great occasion for the Maynooth players, and even the fans. I was seeing on Twitter they have their their away allocation is sold out and so on. So yeah, no, they'll enjoy the day out up to the big smoke, and they'll. I don't know, to be honest. I'm not a big fan of the Leinster Senior League, to be honest. I'm more an Ulster Senior League man, but I wouldn't be too familiar with the Maynooth players. But as I said in the last, chatting about Harps and Dundalk, it's a cup match. You just don't know what will happen. We've seen teams in the FA Cup over in England. Premier League teams been dumped out by non-league teams or League One or League Two. So anything could happen. But if it just go with my head, my heart, I would put Bohs to win this. Comfortably enough. It could be 4 or 5-0.
I think, looking at a game like this on paper, every day of the week, probably everyone's going to back Bohs. And like you said, back them comfortably 4 or 5-0. But to me, no game is won on paper. Absolutely no game was won on paper. Not until you step out into that pitch and see what happens, and until that final whistle goes, you've definitely not won the game. It's no game is won on paper. Definitely not. And we've seen time and time again teams popping up and getting wins, getting late wins, scrapping out draws, taking teams to extra time. It happens, and I think there's been so much talk about Bohs have an easy draw. Bohs are 100% true. Well, we're not. We're definitely not true until we perform. And the players have to put in a professional performance. They cannot become complacent. And if it all takes a minute to call one up, park the bus, suddenly we are under so much pressure. And the players are going to be playing behind the biggest crowd, yes. And the Bohs fans won't be happy if we go 1-0 down. But equally, if we really turn them a noose, if we go a goal up, the crowd will just erupt.
Yeah, that's it. It's just the way it'll all boil down to the way it pans out, And sure, if Maynooth could have a dream start, Bohs could have a nightmare start, and the whole thing has changed. The whole reflection has changed. So yeah, no, it'll be interesting to see. Anything could happen really, and yeah, I still would. It's basically everyone probably agrees with me. We'll put Bohs down to win this one, but.
Yeah, definitely. And I think as well as that, like people obviously asked me before this, when you're looking at the teams that got to this, who would you fancy? Obviously, I think everyone, no disrespect to Maynooth, would pick Maynooth simply because they're not in the league, they're not anywhere near professional, they're not a semi-professional club. Bohs should be fitter, they should be better in every single shape and form. And if you're going to play Dundalk, no. Harps, no. You're going to look at UCD, no. Wexford, maybe, and Maynooth, yes. You're going to take them all day long in the cup, but it's the cup. It's this far in the cup. Anything can happen. The game is certainly not won already. We're certainly not choose the next round until we actually get the win. And people might say that's a silly way to be thinking, but it's just being realistic. No game's won for me, and definitely can't be complacent.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. Yeah, they'll have to treat it like another league match, I think, and I think Bohs will be, they'll put out a strong enough team, just to avoid any wee major slips.
Yeah, definitely. I think obviously Bohs have an awful lot of games coming up. Like it's Friday and Monday, it's Friday and Monday relentlessly. It's very, very soon, all these games coming up. But, it's definitely a pathway to Europe. We haven't won a cup in years, years since we won a cup. And it'd be great to have a packed out Aviva Stadium in the final, no matter who we go up against. But the hard work starts now. They need to perform. And I do think we'll get a win. I think it should be comfortable. I think it will be 3-0 to Bohs. You said before 5. I think it'll be 3-0 to Bohs. And I hope Keith Long doesn't rotate the team. He doesn't really need to rotate the team. He could. The players he brings in should perform well. They should, but I certainly wouldn't make any wholesale changes to this. Maybe if we go 2 or 3 up and it's half time, then make a lot of changes. But unless we're actually winning comfortably by half time, hope he doesn't make any serious changes to the team. I'd like to score and see him really put Maynooth to bed and just perform and just get no injuries, get through to the next round of the cup. I do think we'll, as I said, win 2 or 3-0. And I think the next game we're going to look at is St.Patrick versus Wexford. What do you think of this one, Oisin? Obviously, St. Pat's are at home and they'll be happy that they're at home.
Yeah, they will be. Obviously, they have Wexford. Wexford. There's no line in Wexford. They're struggling down the bottom. I think they picked up the 3rd win of the league campaign against Cove last Friday, or was it the Friday before?
Yeah.
I think it was last Friday. But Wexford. It's a 90 minutes. They could cause an upset. If anything, out of the 4 matches this weekend, I could see Pats, coming through. But I could see Wexford putting the game up to St. Pat's.
Really?
Obviously Pats, I can't say that.
Yeah.
Pats, obviously they're 2nd in the league. They could treat it as they might go lackadaisy approach to it. Wexford could, they could.
Key men won't be happy to hear that.
No, Key won't be happy, man.
Yeah, look, I think Pats should win this comfortably. Obviously Wexford are where they are, but they're obviously better than Maynooth. They've got a few good players. They got players of Fitzgerald. They got Moylan. They got what's the goalie name again? I can't think of his name. But yeah, they got a few very good players in that team. Players that's good for Wexford. Obviously they are where they are.
Yeah.
Yeah, Corcoran.
Yeah.
they are obviously where they are, and I think if Pats, could have picked the draw out of this, they would have picked Wexford as well. I think, no disrespect to Wexford, but I'm sure you from Finn Harps would have been happier with Wexford than Dundalk. But look, as I said, these are the type of teams you can't write them off. Like, no matter who they are, where they're from, what position they're in, it's the cup. There's no pressure on Wexford. All pressures on Pats. They're at home. Their fans will be expecting them to put this one, put 2 or 3 or 4 past Wexford, and rightly so. I definitely think they will. I think it'll be 2 or 3-0 to St. Pat's, and I think they'll have a comfortable enough game, and I think they'll certainly be through to the next round. No questions about it.
Yeah, well, fair enough. Yeah, well, I can see them winning. Pat's winning, but I could see, I can see, Wexford maybe putting it up to them, for large parts of the matches. I mean, Wexford have nothing really to lose. They'll go all
Absolutely
out for it. Yeah, that's it. Like, I mean, they'll go all out for it, and we'll see what happens come 90 minutes.
Yeah, and look, it'd be absolutely great if Wexford got through, and best of luck to them, and I hope they do get through. It'd be brilliant if they actually got this far in the cup, and obviously, they deserve to be where they are. They've bet teams along the way, and they've done well in the cup, and they should be happy with where they are in the cup, and they've done well this season in the cup anyway, so good for them. And obviously, I'll be hoping Mylan gets on the score sheet again. He's having a great season at Wexford. Looking at the final game then, going into these cup fixtures, UCD versus Waterford. Obviously, the students are this far in the cup, and they're going up against a Premier Division side, Waterford, who have, a few, shall we say, more known players on paper. Oisin, talks to this one. UCD are home, obviously, in this one. What do you make of this fixture?
Yeah, out of the four matches, I think this all here will be the tightest of the four of them. Borderline with Harps and Dundalk as well. But yeah, no, I definitely can see UCD. They're flying form, second in the first division. They've really put a string of results recent enough, and they're really pushing. At the top. I think it's 39 points. Although they are a good bit behind Shells. But yeah, no, UCD coming into the match, they'll be flying form. Obviously, Waterford won a good one, and obviously they lost to Shamrock Rovers last week. It'll be interesting to see on what type of team Mark Bertram picks. I'd say he will go fairly strong. In regards to UCD, I think they'll be going all out for it. I could see I could definitely see UCD winning this. I'd say they could win it maybe an extra time, maybe 2-1.
Oh, very interesting. Yeah. I actually think UCD will beat Waterford in this. I think they're at home, and I think there's pressure on Waterford to perform in this game. It'd be interesting to see as you said, what team he goes with. Does he leave anyone out? Does he keep the same team? I think he will probably not make any changes really. I wouldn't say they're safe in the league, but they definitely obviously need to pick up more points to make sure they maintain their Premier Division status. And obviously, he's a very serious turnaround in the league for them. And he'll be wanting to get as far as he can in the cup, for sure. Absolutely, he will be. And he'll be looking at UCD, thinking they're a division below us. They don't really have much experience in the team. We have experience more experience around our team. Obviously, they've got the Martin brothers. They got Murphy in goals. They got the likes of Patterson. They've got a few really good players in the Waterford team that we all know. And obviously, I know because I was at the Waterford match with the Bohs, and they're really good in that game. And if that's to go anything to go by, I think they should be UCD. Looking at it that way, but I think out of all these, this is probably one of the hardest ones to call. I certainly wouldn't write UCD off. It's like you said, this could be drawn. It could go to extra time. Who knows? This could be the one that goes penalties, and it gets cruelly decided through penalties. And it's going to be this was the toughest one to call, I think, out of the last few games.
Yeah, no, definitely, yeah. And as I said, I think it'll go to extra time, and I think obviously Waterford, they aren't really safe. You made that point there. They might be thinking, we'll put out a half strength team here, and we'll kind of concentrate in the league more than the cup. Just make sure we're safe and rebuild. The recruitment in Waterford since Bertram has come in has been really good. So yeah, no, maybe they might be thinking, throw a half strength team out, and we'll go well for hammer and togs in the league.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think they'll go with a full strength team and try and see this through and try and get really far in the cup. And who knows who they could get in the next round if they get through in this. It's going to be a very interesting game for sure. The hardest out if you were to call. Like I said, I think it might go to extra time and penalties myself. I think it's looking like that. Thanks, Oisin, for coming on. Thanks for watching the video. Please like it if you enjoyed it and share it. And please subscribe if you're new. Thanks, everyone.